Ladies and gentlemen, this is internet personality Vangelus, here with a stolen Chinese toy that I've actually had for a couple weeks. Sorry it took me so long to get around to this. I had a couple of, hardcore personal dramatic issues that I have since dramatized and put up on YouTube for view count. Oh, come on, it wasn't all that bad. I mean, if someone can't whore themselves out, then who can they whore out? Anyway, this is, Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, Baron Ransack von Joy, from, the upcoming movie line. He's a scout, he'll be cheap, and, he's pretty big. He's pretty wide, thanks to the wingspan. The vehicle mode has a lot of really cool paint apps, actually. I don't really talk about paint that much, but I wanted to point out these gold trims and the airbrushing on here, very, very fabulous. Really impressed me. And all the silver here is actually like silver, like on the engine. It's little touches like that I enjoy, although he is pretty gray on these underbits. He's got a working propeller. Whee! I fail at propellers. And he has a machine gun and two tiny, cute little bombs. These are the neatest little bombs I've seen in a while. I don't know if they do anything, but they're so cute. He's got wheels. No wheel back here, but I'm told that may be accurate. I don't really know my planes that well. I've also been told the guns here would actually shred apart the fabric that his wings are made of, but again, I'm not an aviist. Up here on the wings, you can see this seam line here for his little panel moving up and down. It's kind of a neat touch. And the transformation is not all that bad. It's pretty simple, but it's a little bit involved in just the nicest kind of ways. You open up the legs as one might expect, swiveling them down and etc. Now here's the cool thing. His feet transform in two different ways. This one flips and flips, while this one comes off. No, it's not supposed to do that, but he is a very pop-apart-able toy. It swivels and flips like that. That is something, actually, that I find annoying about this guy, is the number of pieces that can pop off. Now, I mean, it's better than them snapping off, but still, it's a bit of an annoyance. Also, these things, I really don't know how they're supposed to go. They can go in like this more, but then they look a bit odd. I like them kind of parallel to the legs. They're like some badass armor. And then the wings up here have a pretty interesting thing where this piece comes off. Now, some people have been transforming it like that. Personally, I like it in like this. However, when you do that, as I'll show you on this other one, you hit one of the other most fragile pieces, which is that little hinge that they're attached to. Because when you fold them in like this, if you don't do it really carefully, they'll just pop off like that. Hopefully this is just a case of the stolen Chinese Triad Blood Money series of this guy, but you never know. You never know. The wings here. Now this is actually, again, another cool part. These detach from those little frames up there, and then these pieces clip onto those frames. I found that really cool. I don't know why it made me so excited, but it did. I was jittering in my seat. And his arms unfold from all that underwing stuff, all that framework, and you can swivel his weapons out to face a direction that won't involve shooting himself in the leg. And the wings you can leave out like this, actually, or you can fold them down like a cape, which is kind of cool, and it fits his character of being the Baron of Joy, who's known as Ransack. Then his head sort of comes out of the engine block, and at this part you can leave up, or you can fold it down however much you want. You can have it kind of look like a full chest piece there, or you can just fold it down all the way. I kind of like this more. I don't know why. I think it's just a little bit of solidity amidst this guy's extremely unsolid appearance is a nice bit of contrast. Another point of interest, his head sculpt here. He is wearing the engine as a hat. The best part of this is that little thing on top, it looks like either he's got like a miner's cap kind of flashlight, or he has a little trumpet on his head, which makes for this stirring scene from Legends of Ransack. Up and at him, Jimmy! Stop sleeping! I rode here on your brother so we can go and stop the evil Venezuelans! Also worth noting is that, thanks to his Poseability, you can put him in a pretty decent little flight mode here. You can have the backpack up, he can look forward like this, have his arms out, and Superman pose. You can also flap them if you want, like, I'm a bird! Wah! And if you like, you can even transform his legs here back into their half of the plane mode. It's a nice little option. I like that for playability. On his Poseability, though, he can... Yeah. Anyway, he can pose pretty decently. It's got all the basic joints, like ball joints on the shoulders and hips, which is nice, knees. However, he has a few snags, like this ankle, for instance, can only move forward and back, whereas this ankle can move forward and back and left and right, thanks to the transformation. That means that he has one ankle that's slightly more posable than the other. Also, he's got a waist joint, which is nice, and he's got decent arm posability, but now these wheels, you can fold them up like this, but then they kind of get in the way of the arms, and if you fold them down like this, they look untransformed. So it's a bit of a toss-up there. It's a bit of design that I think was a kind of flawed. If you leave him up like that, though, his arms are still okay, and he's got elbows that only have one joint, but can fold up pretty nicely and flush like a double-jointed elbow. The big problem, though, comes in his neck articulation. Now, he's got a neck here that can hinge up and down, and his head is on a ball joint. That ball joint, however, plugs into the back, meaning that his head will pop off whenever you try to do anything with it. You can just barely make his head swivel left and right. You can kind of make him nod a bit, but usually it's the hinge more so than the ball joint. The ball joint just lets him do the Superman pose by looking up like that. It's a bit of a disappointment to me. It really robs him of a lot of character. He can't cock his head very well. Just a little bit like that. If he could have, had a fully ball-jointed neck on the bottom, I think it would have been another, level up for this guy. So that's a pretty big disappointment there. His posability overall, it's okay. Well, I'd say it's passable for a scout. It's just those little touches would have made him so much more. The waist joint does help a lot, though. As far as gimmicks, he has a spinning propeller on his belly. Now, that's not to say he can't do any dynamic poses, and I do like the wrist armaments here. Sculpt-wise, it's really up to you. I love the way this guy looks. He looks like a biplane that folded itself into a robot. But if you are not into this kind of junk pile-y look, then you're going to hate him. Basically, if you're looking at this guy right now and thinking to yourself, I don't really like him, don't buy him, because you aren't going to like him when you get him. If you're looking at him and you're on the fence, I'd say he's worth going for, but if you aren't on the fence right now, don't bother. He pretty much embraces being a bit of a junk pile robot, which I kind of like. I think it fits him, but anyway, overall, Ransack, as many have called him because they don't seem to respect his really, really well-earned title or long-lived family name, Ransack is a really strong movie scout. However, I gotta say, that's with a capital M. If you're not into the movie aesthetic at all, this guy really embraces it to every level that he can, and is pretty much aimed at people who are into this more unique aesthetic. If you aren't into it, you're really not going to like this guy's looks. Even though it is cool that he's one of the very first biplane Transformers, he is also very much a crazy movie bot. I kind of like it, though. This actually takes it to levels of crazy that haven't been seen before, and as I said again, he's wearing his engine as a hat. So if you're into the movie look, I think you'll like this guy. He's definitely a decent toy for what his price point's going to be, fragility aside. And he does fit in well with his two Decepticon Scout brothers, so they make for a cool little trio of fear. But really, these aren't the guys that he's supposed to be seen with, because even though he is Baron Ransack von Joy, and I just railed about how people forget parts of his name, he is also a Ransack. And with that, there comes a lot of respect. So, this has been Internet Personality Vangelus. I hope you've enjoyed this review. Stay tuned for more. And, as I said, Ransack, he's cool if you like how he looks right now. And he's not going to change your mind when he shows up at your door. Although, if you do decide to buy one for some reason, especially if you overspend on a stolen Chinese one like I did, and you end up hating it, please make a YouTube video, because it's always a little bit of schadenfreude of fun to watch other people's outrage. Anyway, good night.
Ain't nobody stepping to the legends of Ransack, 'cause when your name means pillage, the whole world is your village.